Sometimes, the smallest act of honesty can echo louder than a lifetime of wealth. And sometimes, the person you least expect teaches you what integrity truly means. It was just another night at the Silvercrest Hotel. Polished marble, golden chandeliers, and people who never looked down long enough to notice the ones who made it all shine. But that night, one woman's decision would change two lives forever. A janitor, a millionaire, one lost wallet, one impossible decision, and by sunrise, neither of their lives would ever be the same. She scrubbed his floors every night. He didn't even know her name, until she found his wallet full of cash and made a choice that no one saw coming. No cameras, no witnesses, just a poor cleaner, a thick wallet, and the kind of choice that reveals who you really are. When Jasmine picked up that wallet, she didn't just find money. She found a test that would expose the heart of a ruthless CEO. She could have walked away with a fortune. No cameras, no witnesses, just a black leather wallet and enough cash to rewrite her lips. But Jasmine didn't run. She turned toward the office of the man everyone feared. The man who fired her best friend for being 5 minutes late. The man who believed kindness was weakness. Inside that wallet was more than money. It was a mirror, waiting to show who each of them really were. Because when a poor cleaner returns the fortune of a ruthless CEO, something far greater than money changes hands. DS. But when Daniel Grant looked into her eyes that night, what he said next, no one in that hotel will ever forget. Jasmine Olorunfemi started her nights the same way, wiping away fingerprints from doors she'd never walked through, scrubbing marble floors that caught reflections of people who never looked down. To them, she was invisible. To her family, she was everything. A daughter, a sister, a dream stitched together by overtime pay and quiet prayers. Every night, she told herself the same promise. Just a few more shifts, and my brother goes to school. He believed in her even when the world didn't. And that belief was what kept her standing, even when her knees ached from hours on cold tile. But on the 25th floor of the Silvercrest Hotel, a man named Daniel Grant believed in something else entirely. Daniel Grant. The name alone made employees stand straighter and speak softer. He was the kind of man whose shoes clicked like authority, whose words cut like precision. At 38, he had built an empire of luxury hotels admired by investors, feared by staff. No one dared question him. No one, except maybe fate. To Daniel, people were numbers. Perfection wasn't a goal, it was law. He'd built his empire by cutting emotions out like errors in a spreadsheet. And when Jasmine's best friend made one mistake 5 minutes late, Daniel fired her without a second thought. That night, as Jasmine cleaned the same marble floor her friend once walked, she whispered a prayer for strength. She didn't know she was about to be tested in a way that would shake even Daniel Grant's cold precision. A faint thud, a glance down, a leather wallet, gold initials burned into its corner, and inside stacks of crisp bills. Black cards, a golden ID. No one saw it fall. No cameras were watching. And for the first time in years, temptation whispered louder than hunger. Jasmine's fingers trembled. Her mind screamed one truth and one lie. You deserve this. No one will ever know. She took a deep breath and did the one thing no one expected. What happened next would break through the walls Daniel built around his heart and change both their lives forever. Jasmine Alvarez had been working at the Silvercrest for almost 5 years. Every evening, as the clock struck 8, she tied her faded blue scarf, picked up her mop, and began her silent dance across the endless corridors. To the guests, she was invisible, a shadow in uniform. But in her pocket, folded like a fragile prayer, was a photo of her little brother, Samuel, 12 years old, bright-eyed, and full of dreams. Jasmine's hands scrubbed, wiped, and polished, not for recognition, but for hope. Hope that one day, her brother wouldn't have to sweep floors like she did. Her co-workers often joked that Jasmine was too good for this place. She never complained, never cut corners, never spoke ill of anyone. Even when her best friend, Clara, was fired by the CEO himself, without warning, without mercy, Jasmine stayed silent. Because when you're poor, silence is safer than truth. It was close to midnight when Jasmine reached the 25th floor, the executive suite corridor. Only a few dim wall lamps glowed. As she bent to pick up a fallen napkin, something caught her eye, the faint gleam of brown leather under a bench. She crouched, pulled it out, and froze. A designer wallet. Heavy, sleek. The initials DG embossed in gold. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside, bundles of crisp bills, platinum and black cards, and a golden ID card. Daniel Grant, CEO, Silvercrest International. She looked left, then right. Empty hall. No cameras. No witnesses. Just her and temptation. Her breath quickened. This could change everything. Samuel's school fees. The rent she owed. The medication her mother couldn't afford. It was all there, sitting in her palm. Her conscience whispered softly. No one would ever know. But another voice, gentler, deeper, said, "But you would." And Jasmine listened to the second voice. Instead of pocketing the wallet, she wiped her hands on her apron, straightened her uniform, and walked toward the elevator. Every step felt heavier than the one before. When she reached the CEO's office, her reflection on the glass door looked like that of a stranger. Tired eyes, trembling hands, but a spine made of quiet courage. Daniel Grant's office sat on the 25th floor, a kingdom of silence, glass, and control. He liked it that way. She knocked once. No answer. She pushed the door slightly open. He didn't notice the knock at first. People rarely disturbed him at this hour. When the door opened, he expected a manager. Instead, a cleaner stepped in, soaked from the rain, uniform creased, eyes steady. She held out his wallet with both hands, like something sacred. "Jasmine, softly, sir. I found this near the lobby bench." Daniel's gaze lifted from his papers. His expression didn't change, but something in his chest did. He recognized it immediately. His initials, DG, burned into the leather. Inside that wallet was more cash than she would earn in 6 months. And yet, she stood there, trembling slightly, refusing to meet his eyes. "Daniel," flatly, "you went through it?" Jasmine, quietly, "I only opened it to see whose it was, sir." Long pause. He watches her. She could feel his doubt pressing against her like heat. In this world, honesty wasn't expected, it was ridiculed. He studied her, the calluses on her hands, the tiredness in her eyes, the kind of fatigue that comes from working harder than anyone sees. "Daniel, what's your name?" "Jasmine." "Jasmine, sir." He didn't thank her. He stared at her, long enough to make her doubt if she'd done the right thing. Then, without another word, he nodded. "You can go." As the elevator doors closed, Jasmine's heart sank. No thank you. No smile. Just dismissal. But she had no idea that moment would linger in his mind all night. He didn't smile. He simply nodded and said, "You can go." But as she walked out, something strange happened. Daniel opened the wallet again, staring at the untouched cash. And for the first time in years, he questioned who he'd become. The next, what would you do if you found a wallet like that, filled with more money than you've ever seen? Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. Before we continue with this story, I want to thank you for being here. I spend countless hours researching and crafting stories like this, stories that touch the heart and remind us of our shared humanity. If you believe the world still has good people like Jasmine, please subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps more people discover these stories, and it means the world to me. Now, let's see what happens next. The next morning, Daniel Grant couldn't stop thinking about the cleaner with trembling hands and honest eyes. He didn't know her name, but he was about to find out. Morning came like any other in the Silvercrest Tower. Suits clicked through the lobby, espresso machines hissed, and phones began their endless rings. But in one office, a man couldn't shake a thought that kept him awake all night. Daniel Grant sat behind his polished desk, staring at the same leather wallet, the one returned by a woman whose name he didn't even know. He had dealt with billion-dollar contracts, mergers, lawsuits. Yet something about that small act of honesty wouldn't let him rest. He had built his life on control, on numbers, rules, and outcomes. But kindness? That was something he couldn't quantify. The hotel security log showed no report of a missing item. No one knew. No one cared. Except Daniel. He asked the manager for her file, and when he saw how much she earned and how much overtime she had logged, he closed the file slowly and sat in silence. At precisely 10 a.m., a message buzzed through the housekeeping radio. Cleaner Jasmine Alvarez, report to the CEO's office. The room went silent. Even the senior attendants exchanged glances. No cleaner had ever been summoned there twice, not without bad news. Jasmine froze, mop still in hand. Her heart raced. Had he accused her of stealing? Had someone seen her? With trembling hands, she fixed her scarf, took a deep breath, and walked toward the elevator. Daniel didn't look up as she entered. He was staring out the window, the city sprawling below, endless and bright. "Sit down," he said, without turning. She obeyed quietly, clutching her apron. Finally, he turned, his gaze sharp but curious. "You found my wallet." "Yes, sir. You could have kept it. There was over $5,000 inside. No cameras. No witnesses. Why didn't you?" "Because it wasn't mine, sir," she said softly. "And I've learned that even when life takes from you, you don't take from others." Daniel's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in surprise. For the first time in a long time, he didn't know what to say. There was something disarming about her simplicity. No rehearsed speech, no hidden motive, just truth, quiet, unwavering, and pure. He leaned back, folding his hands. "Has anyone ever told you that honesty doesn't pay bills?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "It might not pay them, sir, but it helps me sleep at night." That was the first time Daniel Grant smiled. Not a polite gesture, but something real, fragile, human. As she stood to leave, Daniel reached into his desk drawer and pulled out an envelope. "Take this," he said. Jasmine shook her head. "I didn't do it for a reward, sir." "This isn't a reward," he replied. "It's gratitude." She hesitated, then bowed slightly and took it. Inside, there was no cash, only a handwritten note. "Your honesty reminded me what I'd forgotten. People still matter. Thank you, DEG." She smiled as she left the office, holding the note like a treasure. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. Daniel Grant, the man who rarely left his top floor, came down to the lobby. He watched as Jasmine polished the marble floors, her reflection gliding beneath the chandeliers. For the first time, he saw her, not as an employee, but as a person. That evening, Jasmine returned to the same floor, the same marble. But this time, Daniel was waiting. "Daniel," calmly, "Miss Olorunfemi." She freezes mid-step. He walked toward her, no longer the untouchable executive, but a man trying to make sense of the honesty he didn't understand. "Daniel, you returned something valuable. I never thanked you." Jasmine, hesitant, You don't have to, sir. It was just the right thing to do. Daniel, after a beat, the right thing is rare these days. Soft pause. Their eyes meet. An unspoken bridge forms. In that brief silence between them, something shifted. The marble floors, the golden lights, the invisible walls of class and pride. For a moment, they all disappeared. Two strangers. One act of honesty. A quiet spark of respect neither of them could name. That night, Jasmine walked home through the rain. Her shoes soaked, her spirit calm. Somewhere deep inside, she felt something she hadn't in years seen. And Daniel Grant, the man who measured worth by performance charts and profit margins, couldn't shake the image of the girl who handed him his fortune and asked for nothing in return. But he had no idea how much her honesty was about to cost her. Over the next few days, Daniel began asking quiet questions. What's her name? How long has she been here? Does she have family? When his assistant answered, he simply nodded, but his eyes softened. A few days later, he stopped her again in the hallway. Alvarez, he said, you have a brother, don't you? Her eyes widened. Yes, sir. Samuel. He's in school, trying to be, sir. Daniel nodded slowly. Keep doing what you're doing. The world could use more people like you. And then, he smiled again. For Jasmine, that small moment was everything. For Daniel, it was the first crack in the armor he had built around his heart. What would you do if you met someone whose integrity humbled you? Someone who reminded you of the goodness you'd lost sight of? Would you help them? Learn from them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. They didn't know it yet, but a bond was forming. Fragile, unlikely, yet powerful. Daniel began to notice how differently Jasmine treated the world. She greeted guards by name. She left extra towels for families with children. She fixed things that weren't her job because she couldn't stand to see things broken. And Daniel, who had once seen people as tools for success, was beginning to see them as the reason for it. But the world has a way of testing goodness. And soon, both Daniel and Jasmine would face the kind of trial that reveals who we truly are. The week after that encounter, the Silvercrest Hotel didn't change. But Daniel Grant did. He started noticing things he'd never seen before. The way that cleaners moved silently around guests, how their eyes lowered when executives passed by, how invisible people could become when they wore the wrong uniform. He saw Jasmine again, bent over a marble floor, hands wringing out a mop, humming a tune to herself. A melody too beautiful for the walls it echoed through. Daniel, to himself, she hums, while scrubbing floors. One afternoon, Daniel's assistant, Rebecca, found him staring out the window again. She hesitated. Sir, is something bothering you? He sighed, almost embarrassed. Do you ever think about who we become chasing success? Rebecca blinked. She had never heard him speak like that. What do you mean, sir? I used to think efficiency made me strong, he said. Now I'm starting to wonder if compassion does. Rebecca smiled faintly. You sound like someone who's finally remembering what matters. He didn't answer, but the look in his eyes said she was right. That evening, Daniel made a decision. He called the HR department and instructed them to summon Jasmine. She arrived nervous, clutching her scarf. He gestured for her to sit. You've been working nights for how long? 5 years, sir. He nodded. Your dedication hasn't gone unnoticed. The company is launching a community foundation, scholarships for staff families. I'd like to start with your brother. Jasmine's eyes filled instantly. Sir, I don't know what to say. Just say thank you, he said softly, and tell him to make it count. She stood, trembling. Thank you, sir. Truly. In that moment, Daniel didn't feel like a CEO. He felt like a man finally doing something right. In the days that followed, Jasmine noticed little changes around her. Her cleaning supplies were suddenly upgraded. Her workload, lighter. Her schedule, more stable. No one told her why, but she knew. Daniel Grant never said a word, never called attention to it. Yet every quiet improvement was his unspoken way of saying thank you. He began to greet her in the halls, just a nod at first. Then, one day, a simple, "Good morning, Jasmine." For a man who had once treated his staff like furniture, that greeting meant more than gold. Sometimes, kindness doesn't roar. Sometimes, it whispers through the small things people think no one notices that he didn't know it then. But that sound, that small act of grace, was beginning to unravel something deep inside him. It started small. A cup of coffee left by her cart. A thank you note scribbled in neat, unfamiliar handwriting. Then, a conversation. "Daniel, I hope you don't mind me asking, what keeps you going? You seem peaceful." Jasmine, smiling faintly, "Peace isn't the absence of struggle, sir. It's choosing not to let struggle win." Her words landed heavier than she knew. Daniel had everything money could buy, except peace. From that moment, he started visiting the lower floors more often, not for inspections, but to listen. He learned about long shifts, broken equipment, and paychecks that vanished before the month ended. The more Daniel saw, the harder it became to pretend. He had built an empire on efficiency, but now, every statistic on his reports looked like a story he was ignoring. Daniel, low voice, they call it cost optimization, but what it really costs is people. And yet, in trying to help, he crossed a line he didn't see coming. Locker room. Jasmine opens an envelope, rustle of paper. Inside was a check. Her name, her exact monthly wage, multiplied by 10. Jasmine, shocked, whisper, "What is this?" Daniel, "Call it an overdue thank you." Jasmine, defensive, "I can't take this, sir. People will talk." Daniel, "Then let them. You earned it." But Jasmine knew better. In a place like Silvercrest, rumors moved faster than truth, and she was right. Not everyone was happy. Rumors began to spread, whispered in locker rooms and corridors. "She's probably his favorite. She must be doing something for those favors." Imagine, a cleaner getting a scholarship for her brother? Must be nice. Jasmine heard them all. Every whisper was a blade she couldn't block. One evening, as she mopped the marble lobby, 2 staff members passed by, smirking. "She's got the boss wrapped around her finger," one said. The other laughed. "Honesty, huh? Sure, that's what they're calling it now." Jasmine's hands trembled on the mop handle. For the first time, she wanted to cry right there on the polished floor she'd made shine. By the next morning, whispers spread like spilled ink. She must have done something. No one gets a gift like that for honesty. Her supervisor called her in. Her file was under review. Security asked questions that sounded like accusations. For Daniel, it was guilt. For Jasmine, it was survival. Daniel, angrily, to HR manager, she did nothing wrong. HR manager, maybe not. But perception is everything, sir. The same rain that washed the marble floors now soaked the woman who cleaned them. She had done everything right, and somehow, it still went wrong. That night, Daniel made a decision, the kind that redraws a person's soul. He wouldn't just clear her name. He would tear down the system that punished her for being honest. But in doing so, he was about to lose everything that made him Daniel Grant. The next morning, Daniel noticed she wasn't in her usual shift. When he asked, HR told him she'd requested unpaid leave. He called her in. "Why are you leaving?" She tried to smile. "Just need time, sir." He frowned. "Is it because of what people are saying?" She looked up, tears brimming. "I never wanted anyone to think I did something wrong. I just wanted to help my brother. I don't belong here, sir." Daniel stood, his voice firm but kind. "Listen to me, Jasmine. You did nothing wrong. Let people talk. The truth doesn't need defending. She shook her head. But sir, I don't want your name dragged into this. He sighed. Then let me handle it. That afternoon, Daniel gathered his department heads. He stood before them. The same man who once demanded perfection, but his tone was different. He said, I've been reminded lately that integrity doesn't wear a suit. It wears humility. It shows up when no one's watching. And if any of you have a problem with me recognizing that, then maybe you're in the wrong company. The room was silent. No one dared speak. But every word he said traveled through the building like fire through dry wood. By evening, the whispers had stopped, and Jasmine had her dignity back. The next day, Jasmine returned to work quietly. As she entered the lobby, a bouquet of lilies sat at the front desk with a note. For Jasmine, thank you for reminding us that decency still exists. From the Silvercrest team. She smiled for the first time in days, not because of the flowers, but because she realized something powerful. Even the smallest act of courage can ripple through the hardest of hearts. It began with thunder. Dark clouds rolled in over the city like a warning, the kind that makes people hurry home and whisper prayers under their breath. At the Silvercrest Hotel, the staff scrambled. Power flickered. Guests panicked. The generator failed. Elevators froze between floors. And on the 14th floor, the fire alarm began to scream. A small electrical spark in the maintenance room had turned into something far worse. Smoke, heat, fear, sound of alarms, hurried footsteps, faint coughs. Jasmine was cleaning in the lower corridor when she heard the commotion. She dropped her mop instantly. While others ran out, she ran in. Her mind flashed back to her brother. She thought of what he'd say if she didn't help. Her body moved on instinct. When Daniel Grant reached the lobby, chaos had taken over. Guests shouted, staff scattered. The emergency team was delayed by the storm. Then someone yelled, "There's still someone upstairs." He turned sharply. Who? Jasmine. Without hesitation, Daniel grabbed a flashlight and ran for the stairwell. 14 flights of smoke and darkness. 14 floors of fear. And in that choking silence, he saw her, coughing, trying to drag an elderly guest towards safety. "Jasmine," he shouted. She looked up, eyes wide with surprise. "Sir, help me, please." Together, they carried the man down the stairs, step by painful step. Each cough, each breath, felt like a battle. By the time they reached the 8th floor, Daniel's shirt was soaked with sweat. Jasmine's hands burned from holding the railing. But they didn't stop. They couldn't. By dawn, the fire was contained. No lives lost. Only smoke, exhaustion, and relief. Daniel sat outside the hotel entrance, his face streaked with ash. Beside him, Jasmine sat wrapped in a blanket, silent, shivering. He turned to her slowly. "You could have died in there." She smiled faintly. "So could you." He chuckled, the first real laugh in years. "Maybe we both needed to." She frowned. "Sir." He looked out at the sunrise. "The people we used to be, maybe they needed to burn away so we could finally see what matters." Weeks passed. The hotel reopened, rebuilt stronger, safer. But the real rebuilding happened inside its people. Daniel Grant was no longer the man who barked orders. He now walked the halls by name. "Good morning, Tony. How's your son, Maria?" He started a new program, Silvercrest Rising, a fund to support staff education and family needs. And at the top of every committee, he placed one person he trusted most, Jasmine Olaranfimi, Director of Employee Welfare. When she got the letter of promotion, she wept quietly in the break room. She wasn't crying for joy, but for proof. Proof that humility had power. That goodness wasn't weakness. that even the smallest light could outshine the smoke of judgment. One afternoon, Jasmine received a call from her brother. He had just been accepted into university, full scholarship. "Jazz," he said, voice trembling with joy. "You made this possible." She smiled through her tears. "No, little brother. We both did. We just never gave up." Later that day, as she walked past the lobby, she saw Daniel staring out at the city skyline again. But this time, he wasn't distant. He was present. She walked up beside him. "Beautiful evening, sir." He smiled. "Yes, it is. And please, call me Daniel." They stood there, watching the sunset reflect off the glass towers, two souls who had both been remade by grace. In a world obsessed with power, numbers, and image, Jasmine and Daniel proved something timeless. That kindness is not weakness. That humility can change even the hardest hearts. That the greatest success isn't what you build outside, but what you restore within. The fire that night didn't just consume walls. It purified two lives. And from its ashes, a better story was born. When was the last time someone's kindness changed you? Or when yours changed someone else? Share your story below, because someone might be waiting to believe in goodness again. Months had passed. Daniel Grant walked into his office, and the whispers followed him like ghosts. He didn't need an email to know. The board had found out. Board member, cold, clipped, "You personally transferred company funds to a cleaner." Daniel, measured, "I repaid a debt of honesty." Board member, "You compromised policy for a janitor." Do you understand how that looks? He built this empire on control. Now, every word he spoke made the walls close and tighter. "Daniel, I won't apologize for doing what's right." Board member, coldly, "Then you'll apologize with your position." And just like that, Daniel Grant, the man who measured life in profits and precision, was out. When Jasmine heard the news, her heart sank. The man who defended her, the only one who saw her worth, had lost everything. She didn't know whether to feel guilt or gratitude. Jasmine, softly, "I never wanted this. I just wanted peace." When she opened the door, she found him, drenched, tired, holding nothing but an envelope. Daniel, quiet, broken, "I thought money could fix everything. Turns out, it can't fix people." He placed the envelope on her table. Inside, his resignation letter. "Daniel, I wanted you to have this. It's proof that doing the right thing still matters, even when it costs you everything." Jasmine, gently, "You didn't lose, sir. You just stopped playing the wrong game." For the first time, Silvercrest Hotel felt quiet, not the polished kind of quiet, but the kind that follows truth. Rumors faded. The gossip stopped mattering. And slowly, people began to notice how much one act of honesty had changed everything. The new manager posted a notice on the board. Effective immediately, all staff wages to be reviewed. Integrity is the new standard. In the end, Daniel lost his title. Jasmine kept her integrity. And somehow, that made them both free. Because sometimes, the people who have the least are the ones who remind the world what wealth truly means. 2 months later, the Silvercrest Hotel glowed under a softer kind of light. New faces filled the hallways, and familiar ones, once invisible, now wore smiles that reached their eyes. The woman who once mopped these marble floors now walked them with confidence. Her uniform replaced by a simple blazer. Daniel Grant's name had disappeared from the office doors, but not from the lives he changed. Because somewhere across town, a boy named Tolu was now sitting in his first high school class, the scholarship papers signed by Daniel weeks before he left. That one act of kindness kept echoing. Through a cleaner's honesty, through a CEO's redemption, through a boy's education, and through every heart that watched it happen. People said Daniel vanished, left the city, went off the grid. But sometimes, on quiet mornings, Jasmine swore she saw him sitting across the street cafe, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise. He never said a word. He didn't have to, because some debts are repaid in silence and some stories don't need a sequel. Sometimes, kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about what you choose to do when no one's watching. It's about giving back what isn't yours and finding something greater in return. Jasmine found peace. Daniel found redemption. And the world found proof that honesty still has power in a world built on convenience. Because the smallest act of integrity can rewrite a destiny and remind even the coldest hearts what humanity truly means.